Hi everybody, well I'm Rudy Diaz and I'm here for another exciting presentation, and I'm actually really enthused about this one because I was trying to think about a book that was one I really enjoyed, and this book, although its size may be big, it doesn't compare to the amount of love that I have for this book. And so the book that I got, and I'm going to have to actually stand. So the book that I got was Could We Be Friends? So basically this book is a picture book, and I'm not sure where it goes beyond that because it's a book that's focused on the life events of children, fictional children. So I guess in a way it'd be fiction because it really didn't happen. But it's a book that's composed of poems that discuss every artifact of a children's life, but more importantly, the feelings and sentiments that a child feels during development and growing up in kindergarten and stuff like that. So let's just go over the book a little bit to understand. So here we go, opening the book. So first of all, let me just mention, I love how giant this book is. Now what's interesting about it is that its size is wonderful for teaching a class and stuff like that. Not only a class, but possibly a family. Now the reason for it is because in these pictures, we see the wonderful painting art style here. You can see the scratches and the detail from the paintbrush added onto each image. And what's also wonderful is that in this first poem called Kids, it's a poem that focuses on how each kid is different. Now this was one of my favorite because as a child, one of the things I had a difficult time understanding was that children, or my fellow peers, were going to be different than me. They were going to do things that I wouldn't think was normal. And this book addresses how kids have black hair, have blonde or brown hair, or some live in a small town and some live in a big town. And what's interesting is that while this poem talks about the differences and similarities we have on this side of each children, what's important is that in the art style, we can also see this diversity. We can see white kids and black kids and kids of all different race and genders right here playing along together. Well, what's also interesting that I noticed while reading and examining the picture was, look at this fellow right here. So we see he's holding his frog and stuff like that. But take a look at his stance. And what's interesting is that that stance is really familiar to this stance right here. Or this stance. Now what's important about that is that you see the hair colors are different and the objects in the hands are also different. But they're still kids playing together. And I think that's one of the highlights of what I really loved about this book, was the fact that it tried to create a sense of unity and understanding for children. And understanding not only why each child is different, but understanding why being nice and kind and playing with each other is such a wonderful part of life. And so, another part of the art that I really want to magnify . Oh, and you can see, as I flip through the pages, just look at how much they're all simplistic and use simple colors. But the colors are all so fitting to the situation. I mean, this poem right here talks about new neighbors and how this kid really was not excited to be meeting these new neighbors in the beginning. But as time progressed, he ended up liking the neighbors. And with all these playful colors and the smile, it really just emulates just how happy he is. Like the green grass and the blue scratches on his blue shirt. It's just such a lighthearted feeling. But one I wanted to focus on was in the darker poem. So to wrap up my presentation, this was one that really grabbed my attention. And this is the only one I'll read, and it says, "Words. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Gramps told me these words are true. He learned them long ago. Gramps always seems to get stuff right. This time, I just don't know." They called me a name and they walked right by. I didn't start a fight, but the word they said is a stick in my head and a stone in my bed all night. This is this poem really caught my attention because this really embodies what the entire book is. Basically, what we have here is a wonderful image of a terrible situation. It's pitch black, it's dark, and she's feeling alone. She's feeling the hurt of somebody calling her a name. These side effects that she doesn't understand why it's affecting her to the extent that it is, weighing her down in her bed, and we can see the concern in her face. And just this use of black in the background just really emulates the disappointment, the sadness and stuff. And this is where I really feel like the poems and the artwork stand out together. Because the message of the entire book is going through the feelings of each kid. And the artwork combines so well and so vividly in such a big image that it shows that children go through many emotions. Happy, sad, lost, confused, depressed, and so much more. But this book, which I advise would not be read, or what I would advise for a parent or teacher to read with their child, opens the door for children to understand that they're not the only ones that feels the way they do, and that they also have a book to kind of go into detail about what are solutions to the problem and stuff. Because being a kid is not easy, and I went through that stage, so I understand. But this book, although giant in stature, the artwork and the poetry involved are even bigger in impact to a child. And so I just wanted to really just share this book with all of you, and I'd just like to really thank you guys for thinking about this and looking at the presentation, because really this poem, I really wish I'd had this in my childhood to understand more things, but it certainly is something I plan to share, at least with my kids in the future, if I do get married sometime soon. Alright, well, thank you guys so much. So